Welcome to the Magic on the Inside podcast by the Sisters Enchanted, where we chat magic, hot topics, personal development, and good old-fashioned life. Brew up something delicious and sit with us for a spell. Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to this, what were we calling it? A mixed up
podcast.
Yeah. I'm Sara, founder of the Sisters Enchanted and host of the Magic on the Inside podcast.
And I'm Emily, founder of Wise Woman Witchery and the host or co-host of the Witch Next Door podcast.
I guess I'm kind of the co-host of my podcast because Anna's mostly always in it.
Right.
But if Anna's not in it.
But do you do it by yourself usually? Sometimes?
Sometimes.
I do it by myself sometimes too. So we're like the co-hosts of our podcasts.
Yeah.
We do all the things.
We do. But today,
we're going to share the responsibility.
Yes, because this podcast is going to be on both of our podcast things.
Network, streaming,
channels,
places. I have no words today, so this is going to be a really fun podcast.
Do you normally video your podcast?
No.
I know we had talked about this.
No. So Veronica, my co-host, said, my husband said we should video our podcast. And I was like, why would we do that? It's a podcast. And then I learned that it's like a thing.
It is.
So I think that's what we're going to do next, but we haven't gotten it together yet.
Well, this is on video.
I know.
Somewhere, because I video them.
Right.
As you can see.
So where can people find this if they're listening to it on my podcast?
Well, my video version will be on our YouTube and our blog at the Sisters Enchanted.
Got it.
And if you choose to use the video version
then I can put it on my YouTube channel.
Then I don't know where it will be because it's not mine then.
Right. It'll be on my YouTube channel. And maybe I'll put it on the podcast page on the website because I'm learning how to do that now.
That would be wild.
I know. Whoa.
The tech things. The tech things.
The tech things. The hours.
The hours. That's more like it. The hours spent kicking the tech things and then crying over it.
Or doing this. I just was explaining to Sara, this is how I look. And then I'm like, I have to walk away. I have to walk away now. This is too much tech. Like,
yeah. No, it's challenging for sure. I think that's for people who want to have online businesses, small or hobbies or whatever, big, whatever it is, that's the thing that really can hold somebody back. It doesn't just work.
No, you think it's simple and then you start getting in there and you're like, but this has to work with this. And then it has to work with this. And then, I just sent that there and now I've got to go over here and make sure that link works with this. It's so much things.
I know. And then you get years down the road and you have links that are old, but then people still find them. Yeah. And then you're like, wait a second, but that's not relevant information anymore because that's an old link and I don't know where you found it. So can you tell me where you found it so that I can fix it?
So I can go make it go away or add the correct one?
Yeah, we had this recently. Somebody was like, oh, I got this thing or I saw this or whatever. And all of us at the Sisters Enchanted, we were all like, so should we ask? Do we look like the worst if we ask if they could tell us where they found that? Because none of us can figure it out. Like, where did you see that information? Because we're really having a hard time finding it.
Yeah.
It's just the internet. It just collects all your stuff.
Right. And the more content you create and the more times you send things out or offers you've created, the more they live out there in the interwebs.
Yeah. Easily gets lost and cluttered and
totally.
It's hard to unclutter.
Yeah. So speaking of interwebs,
we're going to talk about community.
Yeah.
What that looks like on the interwebs.
Yes. And how it can be amazing and also sometimes complicated.
Yes.
But I just want to say, Sara, I know you from the interweb net.
So I call it the interwebs. Okay. Do you actually call it that?
I do, but I got it from you.
I say that too. The interweb.
I don't know where I got it from, but it must be you.
I talk about the internet like it's a living thing that's
it is.
Trying to ruin my life, but also make it better.
I think it is both of those things.
I know. We were just talking about this standing desk thing that we both saw online. And we were like, I saw that. And I think that would really make my life better.
Mine too.
But when the internet doesn't work the way I think it should.
The desk isn't going to help.
It does not make my life better. No, the desk
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what kind of cool desk you have.
I know. But we did meet online.
We did. I found Sara because I was trying to learn how to build things on the internet.
Trying to be friends with the internet, and it wasn't working.
Right, it wasn't working. I was like, this woman is really successful in being friends with the internet, so I want to find out how she does it. And then we started talking, and then I was like, I would like to be your friend.
I think that's kind of how that happened, actually.
Sarah was like, oh.
I know. Well, you tend to be more of like a let's be in community person.
Yes.
Where I'm more of a community hesitant person.
Right. I think this is an important point to make about online communities,
It
because
is.
For me, I practice magic in a community. I have really close friends, we're all up in each other's business. And and that's how I do relationship, and that's how I do my life. And in my day job, I'm a therapist. So I'm like, up in people's business all day. And I care. I mean, that's why I do it, because I'm so interested in finding out more about people. So I'm always like, community's amazing. Let's come together. Let's be in a group, right? And Sarah's like, I'm going to create community for everybody else to enjoy, and I'm going to be over here having my coffee.
That's exactly what I'm like.
I know.
So Emily has actually, so we met online, and then we talked, and then Emily and I met at 2 live events that we hosted for the Sisters Enchanted. But I'm very much, the second one was like really small, so that was cool. But the first one was more people, and that's very much how I am. I'm like I will facilitate the community all day long, and then I'm gonna step out and let me know if you need me,
right? Or don't.
Yeah, or don't let me know if you need me. Here's the number of the person to contact if you need something. And then they'll let me know if they can't handle it, if they need me. But yeah, so it's interesting about, so we want to talk about community online, because there's so much to it. And we do have very different kind of just ways that we approach that. And so many people who come to both of our worlds feel so alone, I think, in their everyday for a myriad of reasons, whether it's you're a person who's like I've always felt really intuitive, or but nobody around me thinks intuition's a thing, or I've always felt really connected to the earth when I'm outside. Like I'd rather talk to a tree than a person, but everybody thinks that's weird, or I would never tell somebody that. Whatever your story is, there's so many people who have those experiences of not feeling like the physical community they have is the only community they need to have. An online community can be amazing.
Well, totally. And I mean, I know you experience this, but people who not only feel alone, but then feel like they can't share those things with people around them because they might be judged. And so, the internet has created this whole platform. I mean, I was even just thinking back, you mentioned AOL Instant Messenger yesterday when we were chatting. And I was thinking back to the beginning of chat rooms. Yeah. Right. And it was people who were reaching out across miles, like alone, trying to connect. I mean, that was not the only thing, but ultimately that's what the internet has provided, is a platform for us to be able to connect in this whole other way. Yeah. And so whatever story you have, whatever community you have, I mean, I have an in-person community, and I still seek out community online because I always want to learn more, and I feel like we learn more from each other. Yes. It's not just pick up this book and read. It's like, tell me your story. Tell me your story. That's, that's my life.
It is your life.
I know. Literally. I'm like, I want to know your story. Tell me all the things, and then I'm going to learn from that and hopefully be better. Yeah. And what's interesting for us too is that while Emily does have this strong in-person community, you have, and at least in our case, we are literally a country apart. We're on other sides of the coast of the U.S. And it's been just interesting with our different experiences and being such different. Like if we were in real life, we may never have actually become friends, because I'm not a person who's going to seek in-person community. That's a good point.
Like if there was just, for example, I don't know, some gathering and there was like a flyer at a metaphysical shop or something, I would not see that and be like, I'm going to that event. I would be like, I probably have nothing to do that night, and suddenly I'm trying to find things to do. Like that's where my head would go. So in that dynamic, we probably would not have really connected, but through the internet we have. Yeah. And it's been amazing to be friends and really expand, and knowing somebody different in that way. You do push me to like think different or be different in that community or receive community in different ways. And I say that that's an amazing thing, because so often the people we surround ourselves with in person are just like us. and you would seek people in person that you're comfortable with. So they're going to be people that are just like you, and forming these relationships online where there is that space to really share in a different way than you might normally. You might be really surprised by the friends that you make and what comes of it.
Totally.
As I am. Like, it is very rare that never ever would I been like, hey, friend from the other side of the country, come stay at my house for a few days. Usually my husband and I are like, how can we strategically plan an outing so that we're not home and it's just not going to work out ever? Like, every time you ask, we're just really busy for the next 25 years.
I know. I feel really super honored.
Well, you should. I'm just kidding. No, but that's so the internet provided that, though.
It did. It totally did.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it helped that we got to hang out in person in like living situations.
Yes.
Other times as well.
Yeah. Had I not seen you there, I wouldn't have been like, come stay at my house, stranger.
Right.
I might have been like, well, there's a hotel down the road and we can like meet for lunch, and then I'll see.
And then peace out. Yo,
Yeah,
here's an itinerary. You go have fun.
Yeah. Then I would have done like my usual. Like, here are the people that are gonna host you.
Right.
That's not me.
Well, and the thing is you're going to meet people online that you are not going to gel with. And
yes.
And you'll be like, or even just like, no, that is not my person. Or, oh, we can be acquaintances or whatever, you know. And then sometimes you're going to make connections. And I know that in the community that you've created, you have created that. Like, there are, when I went to these events, there was a group of women who connected, and they are still very connected.
Yes.
And I think that has happened throughout all of the classes you provided. And that really inspired me to want to be able to help create that in the world too, because I like groups.
It is so interesting because you do love community.
I know.
And like, I love to facilitate for other people, like create for them, you know? So,
but I like to sit with community.
I know. And it's such a
hold the container in that way. You're like, here's all the things. And I'm like, no, let's talk about the things and tell me everything.
So was
that my therapist face?
Yeah, so you asked me yesterday about, because I was being like gossipy, as I tend to be, and Emily was like, what do you say about me when I'm not around? And I was just, and in my head I was like, nothing, but like, you're so easy to tell things to. Like, I don't know, I think it's just like your way of receiving. I'm just like, I shall tell you everything that I've ever thought in my life ever.
It's my superpower.
And I just tell you. Like, I don't know why I'm telling you, but I'll tell you.
Well, yeah. And I'm going to hold it.
Yeah, you are. But, and for anybody too, who's, because I know we do have a lot of people, at least on my end of the podcast, because we're both going to publish this, who are interested in online business and having their own online business and community. And a lot of people who are introverts and are like, but I really don't like to talk to people, and I don't like people to see me. And I think that that's where you can see here two very different personalities, wherein Emily is like, yes, let's all be together. And I love getting in the digital communities that we have. And I love getting on Zoom chats with our community and like working through things and doing stuff together. But then after that, I'm like, but this is then, I don't do that in my personal life with lots of people. It feels really overwhelming to me. So I think it's a really good example of how you don't have to be a certain way too, if that's something you want to do. You can be like Emily, who like loves to create community and be in community. And you can also be like me, who's sort of like rain check on that event. And also though, I love to help people and I love all the things that I teach and talk about. That's my life and I love to share it. So I'm a sharer who doesn't particularly, enjoy like events per se. So, so this is really good for that.
To be totally honest though, I don't totally love events either all the time because I need to recharge my batteries. There's something about my day job that makes me need to be hang with myself. So at home, I do practice magic within a group and I do it solitary and I do all my online stuff. And I will sign up for classes in person or workshops or go to a public ritual. But I do spend a lot of time alone. Like I don't entertain or host very often in my home because it's like I need that recharge. So I just want to put that out there too because I do love community and I do love holding that space and growing it. But
yeah, I don't know that I'd call you extroverted.
No,
I mean,
I'm
I don't
not.
know you. Like, I feel like I know you well, but I don't know you in your day-to-day life because we met online. And so
my days across the country.
Yeah, and so I know you in a certain way, but extroverted wouldn't be like one of the words I'd use to describe you.
No, when I had to first make videos, I was like, stop. And you'd be like, just do it. And I'm like, no, you just do it.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I know. It's so like it's really easy for me to just hit record on a video, but then I've talked to people in person that I don't know, and I'm sweating. I can't think straight.
Yep.
I just can't stop cracking jokes because I'm feeling so uncomfortable that it's like the only thing I can do is make people laugh, which isn't, it makes people laugh. So
right. Laughing's not about
because I'm so like, I don't know what else to do, but I can hit go on a video and be fine. So it's really interesting how people are.
Totally. Because in person, I still get that experience, but because I can feel somebody's energy interacting with me, I handle it differently and I think better. Because there's times where I'll make videos. Now it doesn't bother me. But in the beginning, where afterwards I was like, I have to hide under my desk. Did I really just publish that? Is that happening? That's out there in the world. Everybody's going to know about me now. I don't know what to do.
Someone's going to see my face.
Yeah,
online.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm like that in person.
Right. See, and I think that is where we're,
yeah.
Opposite.
Yeah. People like see me and they're like, I think I recognize you from somewhere. I'm like, no, you don't.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm not here.
Where's my mask?
Yeah. Going to be COVID forever. Always mask.
Yes. Yeah, forever now. That's the new attire.
Yeah, I'll wear a mask for eternity, and it's not necessarily.
Don't get one that says the Sisters Enchanted
on
it.
The people will know.
Yes.
One of the things you mentioned a few minutes ago was sometimes you might meet people, though, that you don't exactly gel with. And that's really good thing or a segue into talking about boundaries too in online communities, because something that does happen, it happens to us, and I'm sure it happens to many of you that are listening, where you're sharing from the heart or what, like a story or a thought or a feeling or experience. And then next thing you know, somebody's in the comments and you're like, that's unsolicited advice. That's not what I was going for. Or like, wow, it was really rude. Or somebody inboxes you or what DMs you, whatever the kids say it is these days.
I think it's DM.
DM me, the deets. Do they say deets?
No.
No one says deets.
Not anymore.
And anyway, they come up in your internet space, and it's not the way that you want them to be in your internet space. And that's something that does happen, though. So while we're like, yes, the community was so great for us, online community, I think it can be great for everybody. And I think that understanding your online boundaries, and kind of thinking ahead, like what would you do if a stranger knocked on your door and wanted to like just start telling you about your living room? Like how do we handle that then in a digital space?
And I think that's a really important question, and I think it's one where there's a few sides to that, because there's this thing that happens online is that there is this anonymity.
Yeah.
And so people sometimes feel like it's okay to say things they might never say to somebody else in person. And that's really intense.
Yes.
And so knowing like if some energy like that is coming towards you, to be able to like block that person and not and realize like, this, I don't need to have this conversation. Because that's the other thing, is that if somebody says something that hooks us, and suddenly we're like engaged in this online battle with this person we've never met.
I know.
But we're super triggered and really emotional, and it feels really personal. And the reality is we don't know them. We don't have to talk to them.
Yeah.
Like we can shut that front door on our virtual house and be like, later, dude, like you can't come in here. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's important to know if you start to have those experiences where there's a no coming up inside of you, or there's that feeling to fight back, that you don't have to do that. You can just shut the door and honor your no and walk away.
Yeah.
And if it is like I've had people in my community come to me and say, hey, I got this message or whatever, and it didn't feel good, or I think this might be a scam, or do you know this person? And I'm like on it. So, it's always good to alert the host of whatever community you're in. But if somebody's contacting you personally and like wanting to interact with you and it doesn't feel good, don't do it.
Yeah.
And conversely, I also just want to speak to the oversharing that happens online.
Yes, that's a real thing.
Well,
too.
it is because people share really, really intense, heartfelt things because they need to, and they may not have that space in their life. And then there's like this full-on vulnerability hangover, or where there's like shame around that because they overshared, or somebody might come back and say something that's really hurtful. And so, you know, there's that flip side of boundaries of like checking in with ourselves around like, what am I bringing to the table, and what feels actually safe and okay for me to share.
Yeah. Yeah. And understanding that, I mean, however many people are in this space where you're sharing, I mean, you're sharing to all of these strangers.
Yep.
Which is what we are. And I think that it's just something to really,
I feel like we're doing a PSA for like high school.
I know.
Internet safety, folks.
Yes, that's what this is now.
But it's real for grown-ups too.
Is. Well, we have a saying here at the Sisters Enchanted. Like we joke that we're hitting the do not engage button instead of like we're a bunch of closet Trekkies here, and then you know in Star Trek and they're like engage. Well, we are like do not engage, and we really are a bunch.
Do you
of
still say
Trekkies.
make it so?
We say all these like Trekkie things. Like
Which Star Trek?
The Jean-Luc Picard Star Trek.
I love him so much.
I know. Did you watch the like remake show last year when it was out?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, I heard about this. I didn't watch. Oh my God, I made you have that face. I know, but I happen to have the biggest crush on Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart. I'm sorry. He is so hot. I don't even care how old he is. He is amazingly hot. The end.
That's an interesting thing to know about you.
Yeah. Well, okay, this is a total sidebar, folks, but during the pandemic, like at the beginning, he was reading sonnets every day.
He was.
Did you watch that?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh my God, so good. And I was like,
right.
I still am in love with you all these years later.
Well, for somebody who's in love with, you know, that's I feel like I'm having feelings about what you just shared. This is like, if we were in an internet community and I saw you type that, I'd be like, eyebrow raise.
Would you?
Yeah, you get an eyebrow raise emoji for me, probably.
Ooh.
I know. But all those things you just said, and you did not see the show Picard.
I don't know why. I think I saw that it was coming, and then I have a hard time tracking shows.
Yeah, I don't really watch them either, but I watched Picard.
Was it worth it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going back in.
It was worth it.
Back in. I'm sorry. Okay, so I have all the Next Generation trading cards. I'm not kidding at all. I saved them from that time when that was on TV. So I was a really big fan of that particular section series.
So this is so fascinating.
I know.
This is good. Well,
Sarah's learning things about me she never thought she'd know.
I did not think I'd know that.
I have depth.
Clearly. You're layered like an onion.
Totally.
Do not engage, though, is what we say.
Right. So, circling back to what we were talking about.
Because I think, too, that, so as many of you listening can probably kind of self-qualify as people who feel highly sensitive, intuitive, empathetic, or empathic, whatever you want to qualify yourself as. And that when we are feeling in that way, we might want to share lots of things, or when we see other people sharing, feel like we must somehow help. And but understanding, you know, part of that digital community, which is so beautiful and brought people like Emily and I together, just also taking a step back and saying, if I feel highly sensitive and intuitive and empathetic, that person probably does too. And just understanding sometimes that sharing is sharing, and we don't always need to engage to problem solve or
so basically you're saying like sometimes you just listen and acknowledge and
hold
you don't
space.
Yes. And you don't have to try to fix it for someone else. Even if you feel like you have a hit around it, just because someone shares something doesn't necessarily mean they're asking for input.
Yeah.
I think that you were saying something else. Oh, I know what I was. Nope, that wasn't what I was going to say. Moving on. Let's pick something else. No, it was about the intuition piece, about being really sensitive. And, I know what I was going to say. So I have to talk myself there. It's in the archives. So Sarah's daughter does this thing that's total sidebar that she's talking about like the stories in her mind. She's a library in her mind. And I feel like I have that, but my card catalog is jacked up. Like somebody like spilled them all over the floor and just filed them back in. And I'm like, wait, where is that? So anyway, that's my analogy. So going back to intuition, I think sometimes what can happen when we, like you were saying earlier, a lot of us are very intuitive and we might not have people to connect with around that. There can be this urgency almost when you feel like you found other people who might understand you to overshare.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, this happened to me. And then, you know, you can be left feeling like if somebody doesn't respond, you can be left feeling like, oh, people think I'm dumb or, you know, whatever. That's my story.
Yeah, no, that's true too.
But
though.
you can go to like this place in your mind of retelling your inner story, whatever that might be, your core wounds. Or somebody might respond and it's not the response you wanted, or it might be hurtful to you, or, you know, I mean, there's so many ways that it can kind of go sideways. So I think that's the part that comes back to boundaries is protecting yourself from things that feel like a no to you or feel uncomfortable, but also protecting yourself from yourself.
Yeah, no, that's true.
No, yeah, I mean, I wish I had a different way that I had just said that, but I think that point gets across.
Well, sometimes too, when things happen, you have to also just consider your own life. Like times that when maybe you said something and then you realize afterwards you were having a really bad day and you probably shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that, or you shouldn't have shared that. You know, other people are just like you. Yeah. We're not that different. And they're having those days too.
Yes.
And so I think that when it comes to community online, it's we're so privileged to have the opportunity to have community online, particularly if you live in a place where you're like, there's no one near me who likes doing, who's like this or feels this or acknowledges this or believes this, or like my partner, my family, whoever thinks I'm crazy. I like hear all the things. So I promise you, you're not alone, because we've heard most of these things at the Sisters Enchanted. And so you're definitely not alone. And community online can help with that. And I think too, just acknowledging that, as with even an in-person community, just understanding your boundaries around community. Because when we're all on, and the thing too about digital community is that you're bringing these people in your home with you, essentially.
Yes.
Even if they don't see your home. I mean, your phone, your computer, whatever you're listening to or watching
your
this on right now,
personal space
is in your home. And then, so ask yourself, you know, what kinds of things are you willing to engage in your home? But, and I think if we all did that, this community that we find so rich would be even richer.
I think that's really true. There would be, you know, I hear you say frequently lead with kindness.
Yes.
And I think that that's really a key when you're choosing to interact with people on the internet or anywhere in the world. I mean, that's my heart is like, I'm always like walking around the world going, I'm trying to do this in love from my heart. I really do say that, people, but
you do.
I know. But to lead with kindness, because, you know, those small acts of kindness and thoughtfulness and compassion actually like ripple, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we were like, let's talk about community, because we met on online community, and then somehow this really did turn into like PSA about community.
I know, about community and boundaries. Yeah. But these are real issues that people in community, and I think because we both host online communities, it's really appropriate to be talking about it, because we see both sides of it, right?
Yes.
I mean, I definitely, Sarah, and I know, Sarah, you're in some online communities too, especially around business and whatnot. Yeah. I definitely am in some online communities that are into witchery, and then, you know, I'm in your business thing, and So I have community in that way, and I know Sarah does too. But we also hold the space for all of you, in online community. So it's like being a part of it and seeing both sides of it.
Yes, so it is.
We're qualified.
We are. Yeah. No, I can definitely say over the years of this, so Sisters Enchanted, we've been doing this for 5 years and have had thousands of people come through community with us in a variety of ways. And our community, I say it often, like we are as great as we are because of our community. It's because we want to show up for our community, because we have such just a amazingly supportive, interactive, engaged community. And that's what makes the things that we do at the Sisters Enchanted, where I feel so awesome about it. And on the flip side of that, community interaction can also be the thing that quickly like turns into this like situation that feels really challenging. And I think that by and large the beauty of having our digital community, because I see how it's changed lives for people, knowing you're not alone, having friends, in my own personal life, making friendships that I never would have had before. And that have, are some of the greatest friendships that I have at present. It's because of online community. And also, I think we all know how quickly, though, that the internet can take a turn for not so great things. So I think that particularly in this world of witchery and intuition and tarot and magic and spells, where people can feel so like questioning and, I've learned this thing my whole life. Is this really real? Or like, should I be this way? Or am I going to be judged and ridiculed? Where we can open the doors and say, here's a community. We both here, Emily and I have a community where we can be there for you, and you're going to make friends and find all these people. And also, though, know that we all are humans, and
totally
things happen and people say things. And
well, and again, coming back to that thing of like online, if you get triggered about something, you don't have that person to go and be like, hey, can we talk about this? Or like, I'm having these feelings, or like feeling that person's energy. All you have are some words on a screen. And that feels really different than being in actual connection with someone, even if it's on the phone. Yeah. So just
we start whenever we host events where we have a lot of new people come to our community. One of the things that we typically, or because I'm the one doing it, so I typically say first is our biggest rule is to lead with kindness. And remember, you don't have tone of voice, you don't have body language, you don't have eye contact, you don't have any of that when you're chatting in the comments. Yep. So you can, just the word no, think of the word no. You could be like, no, like, stop it, no, or no, stop it, or no, stop it, No. Yes, exactly. Like, that one thing could be a myriad of different no, stop it. Totally. And you don't have that. And are you one of those people, like, if you see somebody put a period at the end of a sentence in text where you're like, oh, or... Do you not do that?
I think sometimes I put a period at the end of my sentences, not on purpose.
Are you like, because periods belong at the end of sentences?
Yeah. So I might not notice that. Oh my gosh. Bold, like capitals or like exclamation points. I'm really into exclamation points. They're one of my favorite tools.
Yeah, Anna loves exclamation points. If you ever get an email from the Sisters Enchanted and every sentence has an exclamation point at the end, Anna wrote it. If there's things in shouty caps, like, please fill this out, then I wrote it because I'm trying to megaphone through text. But yeah, if I get a text message from somebody and we're texting, it's just like loose punctuation, no periods really at the very end, maybe like commas, like run-ons. And then suddenly I get a text message that's like, that's fine, period. Like, oh, I rubbed them the wrong way. I got a period where previously it was run-on sentences with random commas. Oh. And now I've been perioded.
Have you checked that out to see if it's accurate or if it's just an inner experience?
Well, I mean, remember this part about how I don't prefer to be in community in person with lots of people? So it's not like I have like tons of people that I text with on the reg, but
on the reg,
yeah.
I don't know if the cool kids are saying that these days.
Well, I say it.
I'll check with my niece. She keeps me up to date.
Well, it's like Anna. She does that to me. If she's like so done with what I'm doing or saying, I'll get.
You know her really well, so you would know that's what that means.
Yeah, it's fine. Period. Yeah, like, oh, it's not fine. Nothing's fine about this.
Yeah. I'm in so much trouble right now. How do I fix this situation?
Like, how do I unlearn punctuation?
Right.
How do we?
But that's hard. You know Anna.
Yes.
You know what to expect. You text with her regularly. But if some random person that you don't know is putting messages in the chat box,
like,
and you're like, how am I supposed to read this?
I know.
Wait, did Emily write this? Because then she's just being accurate.
Yeah.
Or did Anna write this? And she has something serious to say.
No.
And there's many more personalities than just Emily and Anna.
Yeah. Well, and like you are navigating these things. See, I was hosting a live class the other day, and somebody, because time zones are challenging for all of us, and so we had a class that was like at whatever time, Eastern time, and the software we use is supposed to generate the time for each person on their time zone, so it should not change. But then if I send an email, it'll say this time Eastern time. So if I'm typing it, it'll be whatever. And this person like came towards the end, and so thought it was an hour off. It was capital letters in the comments. Way to tell us you changed the time. Like all, it's just string of stuff and shouty caps. And then I think I actually said out loud, I was like, oh, I'm being shouty caps. Because I was so taken aback. I was like, those are shouty caps.
Right. Oops.
And it was likely a time zone conversion issue because, you know, all of us were here at the time that I said.
Right.
But that's really, and I was like, I can see how frustrating that is, though. But then sometimes you say things like that, like I can see how frustrating that is, and the person who's frustrated is just more frustrated.
Right. I know.
That happens to my husband.
I was just thinking.
I know. He's like, don't tell me how frustrated I am.
Right. It also happens to, also children. When you're like trying to teach them about their feelings, and you're like, and I see you're really frustrated. Right? I am not frustrated.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Moving right along.
So we know how tough communication can be in real life.
In real life. And so on the internet, it can be extra tough.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect, and you don't know the people.
Yes.
And yet, you can also forge these great relationships.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I've seen that happening in my community. I've seen it happen in the Sisters Enchanted community. I've seen it happen for myself personally with Sara and with some other people that I've met, you know, online through different things. So,
yeah. And I still have friends that I've not met in person, but that I talk to online. Like I have my friend Julia. I don't think Julia listens to the podcast, but I'll have to tell her I said her name. She is she has an online business, the Confident Health Coach. And she and I have an every other Monday Zoom where we just chat, and we've never met in person. But for like ever, we've hooked up every other Monday, and we just check in and text and whatnot. And
well, I do that with,
so it's just different ways.
With Patty from Blooming Manifestations. We meet once a week and talk about our businesses, and you know, now we're friends, so we talk about other things too. And Erin Lefebvre from Full Circle Herbals. She and I do a weekly co-working session. Now, I've met Patty in real life in Florida, actually. Together with Sara.
We all knocked a snake skin out of a tree.
We did, the three of us. It was pretty exciting and adventurous for me. And Sara hates snakes, but she was a great sport. She like identified it to begin with and then helped me find a stick to get it.
I did. I was a trusty companion in that story.
But there was hilarity all around, and it was lovely. So I did meet Patty in person, but I've never met Erin in person, and we hang out every week. And I feel like she's an important person to me. So, Erin, if you're listening, I love you, dude. I had to say that.
Yeah. Well, Erin's awesome.
I know.
Before COVID, she was going to come host or come present at an event that I was hosting. And then we had to cancel. So,
right.
There you have that.
We're going to co-create something.
I know I keep hearing about this. And then now that we've all acknowledged how I feel about peopling.
I know. Erin and I can do the peopling part, and you just have to show up and do your part.
The sweating.
The joke part. We'll get you proper attire so it doesn't show the sweat.
That's why we're black.
I know.
Like people, this is another tangent, and we should wrap this up. It's like the longest podcast that we do. Anyway, that people think, I know we don't do them very long.
We don't either. We usually keep them around 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're like at 40. But people, I think that I wear all black because of like identifying as a witch, and they're like, oh, she's a witch. She wears all black. But really, it's because I'm a mom of 2 little kids. Yeah. I sweat a lot, and I like to just be able to plop down in the dirt if I want to sit where I am
and not worry about
it.
Yep.
That's why I wear all black, and because I don't have to think about what I'm wearing, because it will match.
That's true too.
Because it's all black.
Well, you also have to think about fabric though, because sweat does show on certain fabrics.
It does,
regardless of the color.
Like silkier, like more satiny sorts of things. And then when your blacks don't match,
yes, there's that problem too.
And you're like, I look like I'm wearing 20-year-old blacks on one, fresh blacks on the other.
Totally,
and then
it's not working.
Weird.
So I do a lot of presentations and workshops in real life for therapy stuff. And I have to really think about what I'm wearing for that exact reason. Because when you get up and you start running energy, you're like sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
So it's like, I have sweaters where I'm like, I know it's hot out, but I'm wearing this sweater anyway because I'm still going to look confident.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it's like the same online. You know, you're doing like a 1 hour, like this morning, I just did a 1 hour live presentation. Yeah. And when it ended, you know, it's like the amount of energy you exude to like keep engaged, get the point across. Yes. And then you're sweating, like suddenly your jaw hurts from talking so much. Like what just happened there?
Projecting your voice.
Yes.
Yeah. All the things. That's all real. All the considerations for online businessing and in-person business.
Yeah.
Peopling. However, whatever form it might take.
Well, I do prefer digital communities due to my peopling inabilities.
One thing I don't know if I prefer them. I feel like I have, they're kind of balanced for me.
Yeah.
Just because they, you know, online and in person offer really different things. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I love about online communities that you can't get in real life communities as much is that like reach.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm sitting here in Connecticut right now. I do not live here. I live in Northern California. So like, you know, here is this relationship that literally brought me across the country. Again, I know I'm circling back to the beginning of this conversation. But it's kind of amazing because we wouldn't have met even if we lived in the same place.
Yeah. And then like, in my case, like my family wants to be able to travel on the road and, we do it like just kind of within like, I don't know, like the East Coast ish into the Midwest. We go places now, but we want to be able to like really hit the road
and come to California
go to all the places. But having that online community means we can still get community needs met, even though we're not at home. So we actually do a lot of online communities. Even my little kids, I mean, I don't just like put them on a computer in front of the internet and be like, hey, children, find what you will. But you know, they do like online classes and communities in that way so that we still have that
freedom
no matter where we are and we still have our people.
Right.
So I very much have my people who I talk to from online community and I can still talk to them.
We're really blessed to have this modality.
Yes, we are.
Because it does knock down barriers that might be there otherwise. And even if you never meet somebody in person, it doesn't mean you can't have this amazing relationship with them or within that community.
Yeah.
And I think, so and this is my last thing. This is the other thing that really I noticed came up in one of the online witchery communities that I'm a part of during COVID is that they moved all their rituals to online. And what that provided was an opportunity for people who had disabilities who might not have otherwise, they might live in the area and they want to go to these events, but they don't have accessibility.
Yeah.
So it really also creates this new accessibility for folks. And I just want to name that too, because I think as we're starting to open back up and, you know, things are starting to happen, I don't think everything that's been created online is going to go away.
No.
Which makes it even more important to take into consideration, like, what are your intentions? What are your desires? What are your expectations in online community? And what are your boundaries?
Yes. Definitely what are your boundaries and your intentions.
Yeah.
I think. Mm-hmm. Understanding what you're looking for when you go in there.
Right. So take that away with you today, dear listeners, watchers. Ask yourself these questions.
Yes. Those listeners can't see us handing them.
No, the listeners can't. We have our hands in little cups, and we're saying, here is the messages for you today. Ask yourself these questions. What is your intention? What are your expectations? What else did I say? Boundaries. What are your boundaries? All of that.
Lead with kindness.
Lead with kindness, everybody. Love each other with your whole heart.
Gosh. Crack me up.
I know.
All right. Well, then.
Wow.
Emily.
Yes.
Your website is at wisewomanwitchery.com.
It is. It is www.wisewomanwitchery.com.
Oh, so wait. I thought we were like in 2021. We didn't need to preface with the www. So I will say, what did I say before?
I don't know.
You thought it was not
reg. On the
reg. And your www.
Yeah, I'm www. Well, because www is the same as Wise Woman Witchery is w. So it's like double www. I have this whole thing that we'll talk about later.
That?
No, it's so intense.
Say Wise Woman Witchery.
I just like to say Wise Woman Witchery.
Yeah.
Just Google Wise Woman Witchery and you'll find your way to me.
And I'm at the Sisters Enchanted.
Yeah, you are.
.com.
www. Sorry.
All right. Other random note, and then we're ending.
Oh.
Also, Wise Woman Witchery, the Sisters Enchanted. It's like all the words you have to say each time.
It's a lot.
In my next life, I'm going to create a business, and I'm going to call it like...
Magic?
Yeah. Like one word. I don't know.
The Gathering? No, don't call it that.
We call it like sand. I don't know. Just a word. Bench.
You could just call it Sarah.
Yeah. So my business is called Sarah.
And then you could use that song Sarah as your... Sarah.
That's too much.
No, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it ties in really well.
Just saying. It's a lot to say. Whenever I find myself being like, go to sistersenchanted.com / blah, blah.
Yeah, I know. No, it is a lot.
Get out your pencil.
I like it when it just says, click here.
I know. Click.
And then you just click there, and you don't have to even know where you're going. It just
Yeah.
takes you there. It's like magic.
I know. Very true.
Yeah. So,
All right, then.
thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in today.
Yes.
This has been really fun, Sarah.
It has been fun.
I love that we did this.
Maybe next time we can talk about something like, I don't know, something else PSA.
Like what?
I don't know. Looking both ways before crossing the street.
Oh. If you have ideas for a podcast, you should email me at wisewomanwitchery@sonic.net. Or you can email Sarah at
magic@thesistersenchanted.com.
ta-da. And then we will co-create another podcast at some point because it's super fun.
It is, but then you're going back to California.
But the internet
The internet does.
allows us to do
Yeah.
this. It's not as much fun because I can't touch you.
I know. And I have this fancy mixing board thing.
It's true. If you guys could see this mixing board, you'd be like, whoa. Probably just like
She's
that
legit, except that I don't know how to use it.
And it has rainbows.
And so, I'm not that legit at all.
kinda
I'm
like
not
a Simon
legit enough
Says.
to quit. All right. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
And we hope you have I always say enchanted rest of your day, but we're together. We switch it to magical.
A magical.
Witch-tastic.
Wow. So I usually just say, remember, you are magic. Embrace
Oh,
it.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, embrace your magic
Embrace your embrace your magic.
on enchanted day that you're about to have. ahead.
Yes.
All right.
Remember, you are enchanted magic. Embrace it.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.